Hello again to another Agakala reaction. Today we will be watching this ancient landform is why most of Canadians live within 100 kilometers of the US border. I actually don't know that much about Canada's geography. That I'll be thinking about some ancient landforms in there. The only thing that comes to me is the Great Lakes. But let's just see what's going on and what it is exactly.
In
Oh,
most
it's
places around the
from
world,
Urban Atlas.
digging a foundation means moving dirt. In cities on the Canadian Shield, however, it means battling.
Now that I think about it, I did watch video about Canada's geography. Obviously, wouldn't be very in detail, but it did mention the fact that there is Canada have. I think it is said that Canada have more lakes than the rest of the world's countries combined. So rest of the world pretty much, isn't it? So maybe that's the lakes. Could be.
Some of the hardest rock on the planet.
Hmm.
It's the world's largest exposed section of Precambrian rock, formed up to 4 billion years ago when Earth was still cooling. And for thousands of years, indigenous peoples adapted to life on the Canadian Shield, but when European settlers tried to build cities here, they faced a stubborn opponent. To this day, every building, every road, every sewer pipe, and foundation must battle this immovable force of nature. It's why construction on the Canadian Shield costs billions more than similar projects elsewhere.
I guess I was absolutely mistaken because it's not lakes. Now that you think, well, lake is a type of landform, isn't it? Well,
Today, we explore the relentless geological enemy that has shaped Canada's urban geography, tested human ingenuity, and forced engineers to rethink how we build cities. This is the story of one of the Earth's oldest rock formations and humanity's struggle to conquer it. And as always, this is Ali, and welcome back to Urban Atlas.
It's tough.
yeah, that was quick. So, like I said, I don't know that much about Canada's geography, but the lakes would be. I guess maybe that's why that could be the reason why there is so many lakes as well, because all of the ice ages they were formed in, and if they are in such a hard rock, so basically they're not easy to degrade and change into no lakes. What would that be called? I'm not entirely sure. So if you know what I mean, like basically, obviously everything that it's made in like a soft stuff, it will degrade with time. But if it's something in really hard, then not so easy. Sorry, got distracted by the ad again. But I think if I'm watching something making reaction, I should be able to actually, at least I should watch the ads so people can earn money on it, because that's what the ads are for, and they may put the work in. So.
And where the Canadian Shield presents such a challenge to urban development, we need to first grasp its sheer scale and composition. The Canadian Shield covers approximately 8 million square kilometers, about half of Canada's land mass. It stretches from the Arctic Ocean to the Great Lakes, and from Alberta to Labrador. Portions even extend into the United States in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and New York. From the air, the shield has a distinctive appearance, a seemingly endless mosaic of exposed bedrock, thin soil, coniferous forest, and countless lakes and rivers. This isn't just any rock, it's some of the oldest and the hardest rock on the planet. And the story of the Canadian Shield begins around 4 billion years ago, during Earth's Precambrian era. As the planet's molten surface began to cool and solidify, the area that would become the Canadian Shield was among the first to form stable continental crust. The shield isn't a single type of rock, but rather a complex collection of igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks. Granite, gneiss, and basalt dominate the area, all known for their exceptional hardness and resistance to weathering. During the multiple ice ages over the past 2 million years, massive glaciers, some of which have been up to several kilometers thick, have moved across the shield. These glaciers scoured away most of the soil and weathered rock, exposing the hard bedrock beneath and carving out countless depressions that would eventually become the region's signature lakes. And when the glaciers retreated, they left behind a landscape with minimal soil cover, In many areas, the bedrock is completely exposed or covered by just
Hey,
a
I'm gonna stop here for a second because I was just thinking about the fact that there is something in Polish. You have lake, it's jezioro, and then there is a pond stuff. What's the difference between a pond and a lake? I'm just gonna wonder now because if there's so many lakes there, it must be like much more. I'm like from my knowledge, the pond is much smaller. But now I wonder if pond is something that's man-made as well. So we're just gonna check in a second. So a lake versus pond. Lakes and ponds are both bodies of standing water, but lakes are generally larger and deeper than ponds. Ponds are often shallow enough for sunlight to reach the bottom, while lakes may have deep, unlit areas. There's a transition between them, and the distinction can be somewhat subjective. And this is from the AI overview on Google. And I kind of know that AI overview, it's not always right, so... NH Department of Environmental Services. There's no precise difference. From a regulatory viewpoint, there is no distinction between a lake and a pond, but are surface waters of the state and subject to the same water quality standards. From a naming convention, there is no precise difference between a lake and pond. Older water bodies named lakes are generally larger and or deeper than the water bodies named ponds. From an ecological or limnological perspective, there is a difference between the two. The difference, however, is somewhat arbitrary and not consistent or precise. So the regulatory is that the water quality of the surface waters of the state, including all lakes and ponds, state. This is from New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. Okay. Lakes and ponds is regulated through statutes and rules. These laws and regulations make no distinction between lakes and ponds. Both have to meet all the name water quality standards. The term lake or pond as part of a water body name is arbitrary and not based on any specific naming convention. In general, lakes tend to be larger and or deeper than ponds, but numerous examples exist of ponds that are larger and deeper than lakes. For example, Eco Lake in Conway is 14 acres in surface area with a maximum depth of 11 feet, while Island Pond in Derry is nearly 500 acres and 80 feet deep. Names for lakes and ponds generally originated from the early settlers living near them, and the use of the terms lake and pond was completely arbitrary. Many have changed names throughout the years, often changing from a pond to a lake with no change in size or depth. Often these changes in name were to make this area sound more attractive to prospective homebuyers. Examples of ponds that are now called lakes include Mad Pond to Mirror Lake in Canaan, Mosquito Pond to Crystal Lake in Manchester, and Dishwater Pond to Mirror Lake in Tufton Borough. Well, I understand where the changes of those names came from. Yeah, I wouldn't be very enticed to buy something around Mud Pond or Mosquito Pond or a Dishwater Pond. Yeah, I absolutely understand why they changed the names to that. Yeah, so let's just go back and keep watching. Dishwater Pond.
a few inches of soil. This is a stark contrast to the fertile plains of southern Ontario or the Canadian prairies. Despite its challenges, the Shield harbors immense mineral wealth. Gold, nickel, copper, zinc, uranium, and iron are all found here in abundance, leading to the establishment of important mining centers like Sudbury, Ontario, and Thompson, Manitoba. The irony is striking. The Shield contains incredible riches beneath the surface, yet presents one of the most inhospitable environments for human settlement above ground. And this contradiction has shaped the entire pattern of urban development across Canada. But long before European contact, Indigenous people have developed sophisticated strategies for living on the Canadian Shield. The Anishinaabe, Cree, and other First Nations recognized both the challenges and opportunities of this unique landscape. Rather than fighting the Shield's rocky nature, they actually adapted to it. The countless lakes and rivers became transportation networks, with established portage routes connecting waterways.
That is a lake.
They hunted and fished on the Canadian
Wow.
Shield, while permanent settlements were often established on the edges of the Shield where agriculture was more viable. And when European explorers and fur traders arrived,
This just shows if that was really a lake, that blue coast there. Here, so this one here. Can you imagine the view? That looks absolutely amazing. and you don't see anything. I understand they're big lakes, but I grew up in really, like in Poland, not far from not far, actually kind of far from like our big lake districts. We do have big lakes, but I don't think they're big enough to. I can't remember. I know I've been on over the biggest lake in Poland, and I can't remember if you can see the other like coast. And even is that still called coast on the lakes as well? A lake coast. This is looking more like a sea or something, but I know that like Lake Baikal is so deep that it's obviously, and it's big too. So I'm just rambling here now. I'm very sorry for that, but it's just like this is looking amazing. Summer spot for you for sure.
Networks with established portage routes connecting waterways. They hunted and fished on the Canadian Shield, while permanent settlements were often established on the edges of the Shield where agriculture was more viable. And when European explorers and fur traders arrived, they quickly discovered what indigenous people already knew, that the Shield was not conducive to their conventional notions of settlement and agriculture. And this discovery would shape Canada's entire population distribution. Today, roughly 90% of Canadians live within 100 miles of the US border, a pattern largely dictated by geology. The Canadian Shield effectively pushed settlement into the narrow band of more hospitable land to the south. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, government initiatives.
But I guess it would be as well not only the fact that it's hard to build into such a hard rock, but it's probably hard to kind of make an agriculture. Although probably the thousands, if not million years of sediment, it would probably make something too. But it's always not as easy when you have loads of rocks and stuff. And he said that there's exposed rock formations as well there. So usually people settle where they can grow food, and raise animals for food and stuff. So
Initiatives encouraged settlement and farming on Shield lands in northern Ontario and Quebec. These efforts largely failed, with settlers abandoning farms after discovering that the thin, acidic soil and exposed bedrock made agriculture nearly impossible. Instead, Shield settlements formed around resource extraction, primarily mining.
Look at this picture. That looks beautiful. To me, it's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I'm showing myself now. Okay, here you go. That looks really nice. But try to survive on this when you actually have to grow your own food, like for a year. I'm not talking right now because you can buy stuff, and obviously that would be probably the thing. But when the settlers were settling, they were only relying on themselves and their own not even possibility, but just basically their own handwork, because they had to grow their own food, they had to hunt and stuff like that. Hunting, it's all fine, but you need some veggies as well.
In forestry, cities like Sudbury, Timmins, and Thunder Bay emerged not because the land was suitable for urban development, but because valuable resources beneath the surface made it economically viable to overcome the Shield's challenges. Building a transcontinental Canadian Pacific Railway in the 1880s provided a stark demonstration of the Shield's resistance to development.
Oh, wow.
The section through the Shield.
Look at this! There's a train line going across, on the coast. I'm sorry, I'm just beat train freak. Not beat, I'm a bit. It's not like I would be going, especially somewhere, to see a train. But look at this. If there is, this is obviously a freight train, so it's okay. I'm guessing it's mostly used for freight, as he just said, which is basically because there's mining and stuff, so they transfer. But I wonder if there's passenger trains. I would love to go on the train ride like this, on that route.
Superior was one of the most difficult and expensive portions of the entire railway, requiring massive amounts of blasting and excavation through solid rock. And thus, building on the Canadian Shield presents a unique set of engineering challenges that have tested human ingenuity and dramatically increased the cost of urban infrastructure. Consider the simple act of digging a foundation. In most cities, excavation involves moving soil with conventional equipment. But
in this case,
on the Shield, it requires drilling and blasting solid rock, a process that's
This is how
you see. I'm a bit of a train thing. Show me some nice route of a train and I can go there. I have no problem. I absolutely love traveling in the train. And I don't mind traveling in the car, but I have to take a travel sickness then. I have no problem with in the train with that. So yeah, and usually you can see stuff around and just have sightseeing without worrying about actually driving. Well, I don't have to worry about driving because I'm not a driver. Eric is, but he doesn't like to drive, so obviously it's not that nice. He would like to have possibility of just being able to just look out the window and just, see the sights there. But that's what it is. Yeah, so I was just stopping and posing and stuff. So basically, this ad is kind of longer. So I will see you in a moment. Thank you.
Wait, why can't you be friends?
Irreconcilable differences.
Dude, she's a game-loving loner. It's like you're the same person.
Yeah, and
Wait, why can't you be friends?
irreconcilable differences.
Dude, she's a game-loving loner. It's like you're the same person.
Yeah, and we got along really well up until then. When I think back on it objectively, she was a lot nicer to me than you, Anna. Just kidding, I love you the best.
So, why'd you get all PvP? What did she say that was so horrible?
Believe me, you wouldn't have let it slide either. I'm serious.
Just say it.
Chiaki says Moe characters are a cancer on the genre!
You sad little man.
As soon as she spoke those words, I told Chiaki in no uncertain terms how...
Okay, we're back. So let's just jump in. Because honestly, I have nothing else to add except the trains and Canada looking big. So, yay.
But on the shield, it requires drilling and blasting solid rock, a process that's exponentially more expensive, time-consuming, and technically challenging. This challenge extends to every aspect of urban infrastructure that typically goes underground: water mains, sewer systems, utility tunnels, and service conduits. For example, the Sault Ste. Marie water main project, completed in 2018, cost approximately $5 million per kilometer, nearly double the cost of similar projects in cities built on softer ground. And when Thunder Bay updated its aging infrastructure in the North Core district, specialized boring machines designed specifically for the shield's hard rock were required. Water and sewage infrastructure face similar challenges. In many shield cities, these systems must be built at shallow depths and with special insulation to prevent freezing during harsh winters. This is a design of necessity due to the difficulty of burying them deep in the bedrock. The combination of exposed bedrock and extreme temperature fluctuations also creates the problem of frost heaving. You see, as the thin layer of soil above bedrock freezes and thaws, it can move structures built upon it, damaging foundations and roadways. Road construction in this region is particularly challenging. The exposed bedrock must be blasted and removed to create a level surface, while drainage systems must be carefully engineered to prevent water accumulation on the non-absorbent rock surface. The physical layout of shield cities reflects these challenges. Streets often follow a path of least resistance between rock outcroppings, creating irregular grid patterns, and buildings usually cluster in pockets where soil is deeper or the bedrock is more easily excavated. And as you can imagine, the financial impact is substantial. A 2016 study found that municipal infrastructure costs in shield cities average 15 to 40% higher than in comparable cities built on sedimentary plains or river valleys. Even residential construction is affected. Many older homes in shield regions lack full basements because excavating bedrock was more expensive for individual homeowners. Where basements do exist, they often follow the irregular contours of the bedrock, creating unusually shaped spaces. Paradoxically, the shield does provide one advantage for large institutional buildings: excellent foundation support. You see, Northern Ontario universities and hospitals built on bedrock have exceptional stability. The catch, of course, is that preparing the bedrock for the foundation work is extremely expensive. Perhaps no city better illustrates the challenges and adaptations of building on the shield than Sudbury, Ontario. Founded as a mining community after the discovery of nickel deposits in the late 19th century, Sudbury has been shaped by its geology in dramatic ways. Early Sudbury was a collective of mining camps clustered near various ore bodies. As it grew, development followed the valleys and depressions between rocky outcrops, creating an irregular urban pattern that still persists today. The city's mining activities so transformed the landscape that by the 1960s, Sudbury was famous for its barren, moon-like appearance. Sulfur dioxide emissions from smelting had killed vegetation and eroded what little soil existed, exposing even more bedrock. However, Sudbury's remarkable regreening program, which
It's
has seen
nice.
over 10 million trees planted since the 1970s, demonstrates both the challenges of the shield's environment and the human perseverance in overcoming them.
I was just thinking
Today,
about all those
Sudbury's
colors
urban infrastructure
on this here. I can understand this is. He said zinc, isn't it? So I'm guessing a lot of. If I might be wrong, but I'm guessing zinc would be the only metal and chemical that is actually together. So the colors that they are here, it's because of the mining, isn't it? Or the water and stuff, the color changes. I don't know that much about mining because again, I'm coming from Poland and we do have mines and stuff, but it's not in the region where I'm from. I think kind of luckily. I don't know if I'll be that great if I be. I don't know actually. Obviously, I would be different person if I'll be growing up in different region of Poland because it's the same thing. Like if I'll be growing up in totally different place, I'll be have different experiences. So I'll be formed differently, if you know what I mean. Like, I'm getting a bit too philosophical here now.
clearly reflects shield constraints. Roads wind between rock outcroppings, neighborhoods cluster in pockets of deeper soil, and the cost of extending municipal services to new developments remains extraordinarily high due to the omnipresent bedrock. The city of Thunder Bay offers another perspective on shield urban development. Born from the merger of twin cities of Port Arthur and Fort Williams in 1970, Thunder Bay's geography illustrates how shield conditions impacted city boundaries.
Look at this, how they nicely decided on one name instead of just one incorporating the other and taking the name. It's just they dropped the names and they just got the new one. Cool, I think.
The city stretches in a narrow band along Lake Superior, with the shield's rugged highlands rising sharply to the north and west. Urban expansion is physically constrained by this wall of ancient rock, channeling growth along the lake shore and into the few valleys cutting into the shield. Thunder Bay developed primarily as a transportation hub, a place where goods could be transferred between trains and ships at the western end of the Great
That
Lakes.
looks really nice,
This
by the way.
economic function dictated its location at one of the few accessible points along the shield's Lake Superior shoreline. The shield's challenges have spurred remarkable innovations in construction and urban planning, adaptations that demonstrate human ingenuity in the face of geologic obstacles. Canadian engineers have developed specialized techniques and equipment for shield conditions. Diamond tip drills, powerful rock breakers, and blasting methods tailored to various
That's
shield
not
rock
cheap.
types. And in smaller shield cities, architects have increasingly embraced the rock rather than fighting it. Buildings that incorporate exposed bedrock as a design feature can be found in towns across northern Ontario and Quebec. Laurentian University in Sudbury famously incorporated existing rock outcroppings into its campus architecture, and residential construction has adapted through shallow foundation techniques, slab on-grade construction, and strategic building placement to minimize rock excavation. In some cases, buildings are literally anchored to the bedrock rather than attempting to dig into it.
I was thinking whenever I see something and they have to like remove trees or like things like that and whatever, like couldn't like I understand if you're building like trying to build like really really cheap and it's just like a house for like one family, yeah. But if you're building something big like a university or hospital or something like that, you either choose different site that you should first of all, or design with the mind of the site so you can actually like save on time and the money, because I think that's absolutely possible. The architects can do miracles now with if they have all the information and stuff like that, because honestly it's just like seriously you just have to have a will to, I think, do it. But I know that often it's just basically the financial constraints as well. But if you have to go into a site and then do a lot of like work even before you start building and stuff, that just kind of go against the actual trying to save the money, isn't it?
Modern urban planning in shield cities now emphasizes thorough geological surveying before development even begins. New subdivisions are designed to work with the natural topography rather than imposing rigid grid patterns that would require excessive rock removal. Green infrastructure approaches are particularly valuable in shield cities. Perhaps the most successful adaptation has been the greater integration of natural features into urban planning. Rather than attempting to completely reshape the shield's topography, modern approaches work with it, preserving rock outcroppings as natural features and incorporating the shield's lakes and forests into urban green spaces. The Canadian Shield presents a paradox for urban development. It is simultaneously an obstacle to be overcome and a foundation on which many Canadian cities have been built. The shield has directly shaped Canada's urban geography, not just in terms of where cities are located, but how they've been built and how they function. Perhaps most importantly, the shield has enforced a certain humility in Canadian urban planning. In these cities, nature cannot be easily conquered or reshaped. Instead, successful development has come through
Whoa.
respect for geological realities and the creative adaptation to them. The Canadian Shield cities stand as monuments to human perseverance, proof that even on the most unyielding foundation, we can build communities that last. These are cities literally carved from stone, and their very existence a testament to the determination of those who built them, one difficult inch at a time. And as always, if you like content like this, remember to give this video a like. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
That was cool. So I learned something new for sure. Because I never really heard about the shield.
Damien is more than happy.
Why did it start now when I already play pause? So, yeah, I was talking over the whole video, so you kind of know what I'm thinking about it. But basically, that was kind of cool. Like I said, that I haven't really heard about that shield thing. But like I said as well, I didn't grow up in Canada and I didn't grow up in America. And actually, it doesn't matter. I didn't grow up in Canada. I'm pretty sure that in America they don't teach about Canada's geography or geological features. We probably skimmed over it. In regards of all the ice ages and things like that, I'm pretty sure we had something about that. The Great Lakes, the two, but it's just like the basics. So I was just kind of thinking, I was showing the map there, and I kind of wonder how many Great Lakes it's actually in Great Lakes, because I always think like there's 3, but then there's 2 on the side, and then I notice now there's another one. Great Lakes. Okay, let's go. So, the Great Lakes, also called the Great Lakes of North America, are a series of large interconnected freshwater lakes spanning the Canada-United States border. The 5 lakes are Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario, though hydrologically, Michigan and Huron are a single body of water joined at the Straits of Mackinac. Oh yeah, there's an island, Mackinac Island, as well, with the Great Garden Show. The Great Lakes Waterway enables modern travel and shipping by water among the lakes. The lakes connect to the Atlantic Ocean via the St. Lawrence River and to the Mississippi River basin through the Illinois Waterway. Good to know. So it's 5 lakes. Here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 as well? What's those then? To go to map. 1 second, I'll be back because I'm kind of curious now. Great Lakes and the map. Oh, Erie as well. Okay. So here you go. I'm gonna do this. So Lake Superior on the top. Lake Michigan. Lake Huron. What's this here? Is that part of the Lake Huron as well? I'm kind of curious. It is it? Must be. Okay. That's a lot of violence. And my computer is kind of on the fritz. And so this is as 1 lake, yeah? So then Lake Ontario and Lake Erie here. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking that this part here, that's a separate. That must be just 1 lake. Lake Huron. Cool to know. See, I learned something new again today. Cool. Okay. Did you ever hear about the shield in Canada? And yeah, pretty much. So, thank you very much for watching, and I see you tomorrow. Bye.